And we are live. Hello, 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 beautiful people. Hello, welcome back to Pop-Up Conversation, Thursday's conversation. Every week we have a pop-up conversation with my beautiful co-hosts, Lorna and Michelle. Say hello if you're watching this live or replay. Say hello. Let us know where you are tuning from. And tonight, I don't know if you see or not, our topic tonight, and Lorna came up with this beautiful rhetorical or not question, is gentleness the antidote for burnout? Today we want to talk about burnout because I think last time we talked about time management, and I think burnout is quite popular, if I can call it, amongst entrepreneurs and business people. No, Michelle, she's already laughing. She knows. I think she knows it is by hand. She's very friendly
I
with
think it
the
was the word
burnout.
popular that set me off because it is so many of us just digging, and we get, especially the A-type personalities, like we're just like, go, go, go. Okay, now do this, and I can do that, and I can do this, and I can do that. And pretty soon we've lost ourselves and our center, and our we're like right into the red line, right? It's so easy to happen.
Yeah. It can be, I think that's why I said it's popular, because it's a subject that is talked a lot, but I feel like it's not talked enough. And then what I want to discuss with both of you is something more provocative, in the sense from a high achiever perspective, which I think each one of us here, we kind of are. When it comes to burnout, usually high achievers says that burnout is not for high achievers, because high achievers push even through burnout. So burnout doesn't exist. But then the other part, other people say that burnout actually exists, and it's something that it needs to be taken in consideration. So what was your guys' opinion when it comes to that, and how beautiful Lorna brought this beautiful question into gentleness is the antidote for burnout?
It was interesting after when you brought the word burnout and our gentleness, and kind of how could we bring here? As I sat there, I thought, when we think about burnout, it's that idea of I'm just burned out, like a flame, a fire, or something that just burns out, fizzles out, gone. And then I thought, what about burn out? So instead of extinguishing, it's burned out, that outward motion, which is, again, so often we burn out because we're expelling, we're giving our energy out rather than that refueling time. So it's always due out. And I'm curious to find out how much of it is, again, a popular common topic of trauma response, that piece about doing, how much of that is people pleasing. I need to be acceptable. I need to be good enough. It's always burn out, 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 out.
Yeah.
So there's, that as I sat with that, I thought, oh, how do I look at those words from a different perspective?
And certainly that was my experience of my major burnout, when I wasn't listening to the universe's whispers and then shouts. And hello, cat. My cat just ran in. I wasn't listening to the universe's nudges and whispers and taps and prods, and then finally the frying pan came. And so it was full on. It was a surprise to me, as that, in a sense, like I knew things were going, like I knew that was a lot, and I thought I was handling it, and then I could see it coming, and by the time I saw it coming, like the wall was like already right here. So then you're like, oh yeah, okay, this is gonna hurt. And you crash, and everything unravels, or it did for me.
Yeah.
And that was probably the best thing that could have happened, because it broke everything apart and made me reanalyze everything in my life. But in terms of whether that, so the process of caregiver burnout is not gentle, but I think that the process of rebuilding after burnout has to be, because you literally can't, you don't have the same mechanisms that you had in place and momentum that you had in place, and so you basically everything comes to a stop when it breaks down. And so it allows at least that space for the gentleness. And because you can lose your identity, like if you're really, there was one other time in my life when I was quite a bit younger where I had a lot of my identity tied to my work performance. And then when my work ended through no fault of my own, my identity was lost. And I think the same thing can happen when you go through caregiver burnout, because you are a caregiver. That's what you do. You don't even think about your own self. And so then when you don't think of, when you're no longer doing that, you don't know what you're good for. And you can really have kind of an identity crisis. So you have to like stop and be gentle with yourself, and listen for those faint things inside of you that give you the clues to who you actually are. And sometimes they've been stuffed down so far inside, or silenced for so long, or just like shushed, that they don't speak up for a while, and it takes a long time just to be able to give them space. It's like out in the forest when someone disturbs the crickets or the frogs and they stop, and you have to kind of wait for them to start again. That's sort of the same feeling to me, is that gentleness, that period right after caregiver burnout is it has to be gentle.
So what it sounds to me, or what you mentioned, Michelle, is that burnout sometimes is necessary. Burnout is something that can be even a gift. I
don't think it's necessary. I think if you're I think that it's predictable if you have certain components and you don't have insight into that it's happening or how you're set up for it. I think it's predictable. It's preventable if you actually are intervene with. In my situation, things were a little bit extreme, and I may or may not have gone to some good advice, right? So like it depends if you listen, and then life lifes you. So then at that point, yeah, it is a gift, because everybody needs to have those pieces learned.
Yeah.
Or at least I think they do. So when it does happen, it's a gift. It just doesn't feel like a gift for about 1.5 years.
Yes. Sometimes when I look at burnout, I like what as well what Lorna mentioned, that what is that out you burn, like the burn, but it's the thing that's out of it. So for me, when I look at burnout, it's I'm out of my element. I was too much out and not enough in. And when I start, even the last couple of days, I start thinking of, like you said, we're doing so many things, and we're ignoring the body, we're ignoring the signs, we're ignoring so many things, because we feel like we have to do this as entrepreneurs. We wear so many hats, we have to do all these things. We must, and then the body shuts off, or your mind says, that's it, emotionally you are burned. And then I start thinking, what is the why behind the burnout? And what is the why behind what we do that take us to a burnout? And for me personally, it's something that I think it comes to the core of us as humans. Which are two needs. One, we do whatever we do is to be okay. And if whatever we do and it makes us okay, it makes us good, then we want more of that. And then the second thing, whatever we do and we don't want it, so we're not okay with it, what do? We try to avoid it. So for me, I feel like the burnout is when we do too many things or what we don't want to do by avoiding the uncomfortability of not doing it, if it makes sense. So
Right.
as an example, I have to do these emails and I'm making all these things and reach outs and all this content on social media and all these things I have to do. I don't want to do it, but I do it because why? Because I'm avoiding something that will not be congruent with who I am as an entrepreneur. Or if I don't do all these things, the social media and all of that, then I'm not gonna get clients. And if I don't get clients, then I don't feel good about myself because that means I'm not doing what I'm meant to do. So it comes is that the ripple effect, but the in like from the outside, look back into what started the ripple effect. It makes sense. And I think when I started becoming aware of that, okay, I feel burnout because I'm not neglecting myself. Okay, why do I neglect myself? Because I have to do all these things. Why do I have to do all these things? Because if I don't do all these things, I don't feel good with myself. That's where everything comes from. And that's when I think it's important to look at what do I really need, which is to be a bit more gentle with myself, like Lorna said, bring gentleness into that particular moment. But for that, I think it's require a lot of awareness. Lorna?
Yeah, as I'm just swirling with all that you're each sharing, it just feels so um, rich with um, exploration and um, when you think of gentleness, like why do we have a hard time being gentle with ourselves before burnout happens, as you've talked about, right? We know that gentleness afterwards. We know, you know, so where is it? And so much we've taught, and again, like I say, by divine design, looking at a story of something, we need to have some antagonists, we need to have some challenges, we need to have this. And so to
Yeah.
be able to have, oh no, no pain, no gain, you know, well, there's no room in gentleness for that, and some of those old stories we've been taught of push harder, push through it. Well, there's not really any gentleness in that. And I remember up until, maybe 10 years ago, I always used, my mom was a very gentle woman, very soft spoken, just a real gentleness about her. And, and I have this gentleness about me. And I remember 14 years ago thinking, I hate this. I hate being gentle because I saw it as a sign of weakness.
Mm.
And I have since come to understand the strength of gentleness and a gentle strength. So that whole piece of when we start to, and even when we look at women and men, that men that are seeming to be gentle, oh, there's something a bit effeminate about them. Men have to be tough. So, that masculine part of us that has to, not just men, but the masculine part of us, I have to push through, I have to go, 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 because there's something I don't want to be. And so it's that whole piece about really letting ourselves sink into the gentleness of the feminine, the gentleness of the masculine, because that holding, as I talk about the holding of testicles, there's a gentleness that holds. And so gentleness is really a part of the nature of who we are. Um, we think about stuff that comes through, like the big storms that come through. That's where destruction happens. And sometimes the old trees are broken off, but sometimes the new little seedlings are broken as well. And so sometimes there's a gentleness that's needed for growth. Sometimes those challenges, those big wins for the hardening of things to create that resilience. Gentleness, it really speaks to a truer nature of who we are, and we're not we cannot always, oh no, it's not okay to be inside, because go out, look outside, you know, go outside, be out there. And so it's just, yeah, it's just a beautiful thing to look at gentleness from a different perspective.
That's beautiful. It's definitely changing your outlook, your perspective of how do we see that, and what would be maybe for someone that is listening this, and as so many in this group, entrepreneur, business, striving always, like, go-getters and high achievers, as we have so many in our group here. What would be, say, maybe your lesson, your outcome, or a tool or something practical that you can advise from your own experience going through a burnout and learning from that? What would be your practical thing to share with our audience today?
One of the pieces for me was allowing yourself to not have all the answers, and to give yourself credit for the smallest things that you did do, because then that's what builds up your confidence, because if you complete something, you get confidence. So anyway, but the other piece is like a big one too, is just, yeah. That would be mine.
I love that. Yeah, celebrating the little wins, not just the big accomplishments. It's, yeah, the millimeter, what they say, the little millimeter accomplishments that creates the big bricks that we building this our life and the businesses we creating. Lorna?
This feels like it almost, here's a somatic practice for it, is to focus on our breath, the gentleness of our breath, that life-givingness, that life, that breath, that gentle breath that gives. And there's gentleness happening all the time. We get to focus on it.
Yeah, that's such a natural, such a in our nature to do it so unconsciously that we even forget that is there, available to us. And I think when we do it consciously, it becomes even more powerful than when we do it unconsciously. Now, for myself, one tool or a big lesson that I have learned, and I feel like I feel the power of it every single day. It's awareness, consciousness, if you want to call it, or awareness. Becoming aware of yourself and everything, like even the word burnout, like Lorna mentioned really beautifully, this idea that it's out. So does mean something outside of me happened that affect my inside. So I'm becoming aware of that. And to bring awareness, one thing I have learned is that I cannot be the thing and the observer in the same time. So when I extract myself out of the situation I feel like I'm in, we say I'm in a situation. Exactly what the word says, I'm in a situation. Take yourself out of the situation, look at it from outside as the observer of the situation, and see yourself into it. And you will, for me personally, it brings such a different perspective of like, oh, and then question. I question, like the why. Not in the sense why this is happening with me, but like Lorna said, being with gentleness, why this is happening to me. Interesting. What is this coming from? And that's something that is helping me more and more. More I practice it, more it becomes easier, for sure. So yes, everyone, I would love to hear your guys, your own takeaways and your own tools that you use to help you when you go through your own burnout, or how you help other people with their going through burnout, even if it's with your business, even in family, even in through your career, or whatever that is. We'd love to hear your own thoughts and your own feedback. Please share with us in the comments. Let us know, and if you have any questions, we always here to serve and support you as well. Well, love, Michelle, would you like to share with our audience when we're gonna see each other next, which is this Sunday? Yes.
Yes, ma'am. We've got another fabulous connection circle lined up. I think we have almost a full house. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 folks signed up. So it should be a great time sharing and connecting with folks in the group here. And then after we exchange kind of connections, we'd love to invite you to have a feature 15-minute interview with Adriana or Lorna and I, so that we can dive a little deeper into your particular special sauce and how you show up and help people in the community. Because part of what we're trying to do here is connect people who need body, mind, and soul providers with the people that they can know, like, and trust. So the more exposure we can provide you with, the better from our perspective. And then, yeah, we're in developing a beta subscription community that's going to have all sorts of benefits for the providers, including good old-fashioned referral fees and other types of perks. So we're really looking forward to getting that underway, and we'll tell you all about that, but in the coming months here. So I'm pretty excited. We're just delighted to have you all here as resource people and support for each other in really building a consciously curated community of heart-centered and purpose-driven wellness providers. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for watching, and thank you, ladies, for another pop-up Thursday conversation. And thank you for everyone for watching. We'll see you Sunday, and then if not, we'll see you next Thursday. Bye-bye, everyone.